Right.
That's true.
Yeah, because like we had a really good discussion last week about should the music industry come with a health warning, and the general consensus was yes, it should, for a myriad of reasons, for things like just when you're in the business, even when you're not like a top talent or a talent that can attract money. First of all, there's the stress of trying to be a talent and trying to make and earn money. Then when you're on that circuit, there's the stresses and strains of being on the road, which Frank from Fun Loving Criminals came in and spoke to us at great length about. He works with Fun Loving Criminals and Ali Campbell from UB40, and he spoke a lot about the stresses of that, and he was saying definitely yes, because, and then there's the dangers of it, like, you know, when you're in that situation of being, I'm just kind of encapsulating last week's, it was 2 weeks ago's live now, you know, things like drugs, drink, you know, boredom, when you're waiting around, when you actually have to do the show, when you do a show, it's such a crescendo, it's such a moment, and then you're left on a high and you have to come down from it. So there's a myriad of things within the industry that makes it come with a health warning. Since we did that last live, we've had the passing of some legends.
Roberta Flack. Or was that before that?
Right, we put Angie Stone in this, but Gwen McCrae died.
What? When did that happen?
About last. Pardon that? You must be busy working, because Gwen McCrae died maybe just before Angie Stone did, yeah?
Oh man, I didn't hear about that at all.
Right, yeah, Gwen McCrae died. And then a guy called Wade Wiggins from Tony died about 2 days ago. Roy Ayers died. This is all since Angie Stone died.
Yeah. Roy Ayers died, yeah, I heard about that one. But, I mean, that by itself is ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, it's just like, you know, we've all got to go sometime, but you just...
All at the same time, it's a bit strong, isn't it?
It's a bit strong. Yeah? It is a bit strong when everyone's going at the same time. Now, I think now I feel like I'm sounding like laissez-faire when I say did Gwen McCrae. I think Gwen McCrae died a few days before Angie Stone. Gwen McCrae died, and someone else died, and I don't have the name to another female like 70s artist died.
Roberta Flack died about 2 weeks ago. I think that was right.
Yes, Roberta Flack. So it's just been, and some of the people that pass away, you're looking, you know the music, but you don't even know anything about their legacies. Or they were in the band, or they were just in pivotal parts of it. And because you don't know everything, or perhaps because we don't do enough research ourselves at the time, your people are passing away like, who? And these are actual legends that have contributed so much to the canon of music. So all that happened, Roberta Flack, then Gwen McCrae, then someone else, then Angie Stone, which I think she's really my era. I mean, Gwen McCrae's my era, but Angie Stone was like, I used to have, pardon?
A contemporary.
Because
he was singing alongside her, right?
Exactly. You know, she's a contemporary. She's older than me, but she's a contemporary in that sense. And I've been in the business at the same time as her, and I, you know, love her music. You know, I've bought her albums, I've sung along to it, but more than that, she left, before she passed away, she did a series on YouTube of videos talking about secrets, Angie Stone's secrets, things that you didn't know about my career, things that you didn't know about the music industry. There's about 12 or so of them. And then the last one she did was the final one she did in 2024. I haven't seen, and that was talking about an incident that she had, a medical incident that she had just at the end of last year, where she nearly died, but she didn't die. We roll on to 2 months later, 3 months later, she's actually passed away in a car crash. Yeah. So it's very easy to say, you know, we've all got to go sometime, conspiracy theorists, blah, blah, blah. But the woman had put a load of videos on YouTube. First of all, not talking about royalties, but she talked about different things you did not know about her. Different things that you didn't know about her career that she did. And then she went on in the final one to talk about, do you know what? She was such a nice lady. You know, she is a lot nicer than me because she didn't want to name names. She didn't want to say nothing about people. She did name a couple of people, yeah? But she was trying to deal with it. She was actively trying to sort this out at the time of her passing. Yeah, and it's, you know, and what also I've noticed is if you go onto the Angie Stone Secrets series on her YouTube, the biggest one is the last one I'm talking about. Angie Stone died in 2024. It's got about 54,000 views. The rest of them have got like 2,000 views, 1,000 views, 3,000 views, yeah? And then when you go onto the wider internet, people talking about Angie Stone, 450,000 views, 300,000 views. I'm like, hang on, what's going on? I know what's going on, but I'm just posing the question. Why are the videos that she produced in the last year of her life mostly, for the most part, under 5,000 views? 5,000 is being very, very generous. Very generous. Even after she's passed away in this last week with all the furore, they still haven't moved up a jot. I've been watching.
All right, well, it's like 10, 11 minutes past, so let's kick off officially. Welcome, audience, to our special online Twitter space talk titled Angie Stone, Music History, Where Did All the Royalties Go? So we're going to talk about Angie Stone's recent death, a bit about her musical legacy, and also a bit about finance, money, and the sort of things you just heard Alex speaking about. Now, Alex Watson is herself a singer and a singer-manager, or manager of singers. She's been in the business for about, is it 25 years now, Alex?
Yeah, I've been there a long time. I'd say about 30 odd years, you know. Women don't usually like to give away like our age and stuff like that. But, you know, I've been doing this since I've been a late teen in one form or another. Whether I've been doing it alongside working full time, whether I've been doing it alongside raising children, I have been in the music industry, and I'm talking about in the industry where you get given contractual arrangements for over 30 years. Wow.
And you're still in a group called Bastido. That's your girl group?
Yes, I formed Bastido about coming up to 15. I say 15 because I always think things are less times than they are. I'm going to say 15. But I started off about 2012. And we haven't done actually anything out there for a good while. So we're not actually active at the moment, but the group is in, what do you call it when you're sleeping? You're just sleeping, you're just waiting. We're still...
You're resting, that's what it is.
Yeah,
resting,
because at the end of the day, people have to understand that this industry, you can't be going at it 100% full throttle all the time, otherwise you will actually burn out, you know. And now I'm a music manager for an artist called Roots Maneuver, and that does take up the bulk... A legend. And that does take up the bulk of my time, because he's got a vast catalogue, a vast amount of work that I needed to unpick. We're also married, and XYZ, you know. So in terms of my own career, I have released stuff in the last few years under my own name. The group has released things over the last few years, but yeah, I'm still very much in the music industry.
So you've been around for quite a while. You've worked with different big and small artists. You yourself have had contracts, music deals. You've been on tour, performed, so you know a lot about the background, the inside, dirty details about the music business. So you're going to tell us a few things that you think about the situation with Angie Stone. So without further ado, over to you, Alex. Off you go.
Okay, I don't want this all to be about me, because the great thing about Twitter Spaces is I'm not actually hosting this live, so I can't. This happened to me last week. I got some loads of icons up, and then I couldn't actually put it down to see who's actually joined. So I can't. I know Andrew Muhammad was there, but I can't even see any of that now. Yeah. So if anybody wants to speak, hopefully you just come in. Like Frank was there last week. Maybe people will come in. There's 5 people. There were 6. It doesn't matter because people watch it after. I've shared it with a lot of people. I don't want to be just the one talking all the time. However, where did the music royalties go? I obviously am not Angie Stone. I'm not a part of her family. I have nothing to do with her career. So this is probably just a convenient device, in the most deepest respect, to discuss music royalties and what can happen to people's music royalties. And also, as she, as an artist, spent time doing lives herself on YouTube for months and months before she died, trying to get her side of the story out, trying to talk about her life in the music industry, her talent, things like she wrote with the Sugar Hill Gang, the theft, and she didn't want to call it theft, but I will call it the theft and appropriation of ideas of your, it doesn't even have to be just your royalties. Sometimes you just be in the room, and I've had it loads of times myself, and I think this is why sometimes I get so angry and frustrated when the topic comes up, because I'm not a well-known artist like Angie Stone. I'm not a famous artist like Angie Stone, but I'm fuming at some of the things that's happened to me, some of the things that's happened to my husband, some of the things that I've seen happen to other people. And it's not just about me, it's not just about Roots Maneuver, it's not just about Angie Stone, because unfortunately, Angie Stone said in some of her last videos, she should have retired 20 years ago.
Yeah.
She had earned so much, and she had earned so much royalties that had been appropriated that she could have retired 20 years ago. She was on the road at 63, probably because she needed to be, because that was the easiest way of earning money. And that's another thing that they do to artists. It's like, well, you're not really on top of your on job in terms of being on top of your business side of it. You're so busy focused on being a genius and being an artist, and you've left all that stuff to other people. So people that you trust, by the way, people that you've entrusted to manage that stuff. So it seems to always fall on the artist's shoulders or the writer's shoulders, like, you should have known your business, you should have done your business. Like, I will ask my lawyer, sing me 10 bars or write me a rap. He won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
But no one has a go at my lawyer or my accountant because she can't sing a note, that she didn't know all about the octaves or the scales or how to put music together or how to create. But artists are expected to have this great gift and talent and somehow be able to do everything else as well. And then they'll be like, well, Jay-Z did it, Puff Daddy did it. I'm sorry that Rodney's in the background shuffling about people. Yes, you. But, and they don't seem to realise that it is a lot. I remember when I first joined the music industry, not first, but when I had my first publishing deal, I think. I had a publishing deal. Well, it might have been my first record deal, because I had record deals before I had publishing deals. And they used to give you this big poster saying the music business universe. And it had the songwriter and the artist right in the middle. And then around it, it's like a space. It's like in space. It was set in space. You can probably look it up on Google, yeah? And then it had all these things, it's like a mind map coming off of it. The lawyers, the agents, the this, the that, the PRS, the PPL, even if I looked at it now 30 years later, I'd struggle to tell you about all those people. But at the centre of it was the artist and songwriter. But all these people make a living off of that. Yeah? But what ends up happening is, not all the time, not in every case, I'm sure Paul McCartney will tell you, or Sting will tell you, well, I've still, I don't know about that, but I will obviously say as well, sometimes I think there's a big apartheid in the music industry as well, within some labels and within some situations. Yeah, because some people do okay and some people just don't. Yeah, and you can be put on and made famous, or you can be famous, and you can die penniless. Or you can be, not many people know you, but you make a good, decent living out of the business. So there's no one size fits all, and there's no one catch-all. There's no one me telling you where did all Angie Stone's royalties go. In her video, she basically says where they went without saying it so much. She named her record label Universal Music Group, who is the same people that's doing the Kendrick Lamar and Drake, what do you call that? Beef. Yeah?
Oh.
So the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, Drake is with UMG, Lamar is with UMG. Yeah? So they don't
So
lose.
they're both on the same label?
Well, I don't know if they're both on the label, but there's interest from UMG in both of those artists. I don't want to like speak out of pocket and say, but there's, I know that I think if it's either a licensing or a distribution, but they both have interest within the same UMG. So either way, whatever happens with the whole beef, you can go on the Grammys, you can march up and down, UMG is not losing. Except Drake has taken UMG to court about some matters. Yeah? And I think he maybe just won that. Taylor Swift also took UMG to court about some of her music, and she had to re-record all her music because UMG owned it all. Yeah?
Wow.
And also, P. Diddy, the music mogul of the last 20 years, he's in jail now. But a person that was named in his lawsuits was UMG. And I've named this person before, Lucian Grange. I don't have no problem in naming Lucian Grange or anybody that works in this music industry that steals and appropriates music from creators, because what you're doing is like if I went to work down at Tesco's today from 9 to 5, and as I walked home, you just knocked me upside the head and took my money. And then you said, you better go back to work tomorrow. And then when I went to work the next day and then came back, you didn't have to lick me upside the head, you just took it because I knew what was coming. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I'm concerned, they will preach all day long that you had a contract or you should have read the contract, or even sometimes you do read the contracts, and I'm going to go on to that. Sometimes you read it and you do all the right things, but still they're going to knock you upside the head and try and take it anyway. Yeah? The week before last, in my live, I spoke about mental health in the music industry, and Frank came on and he was talking about his favourite artist, Prince, Michael Jackson. I was like, Prince knew his business. Yeah? Not everybody doesn't know what they're talking about. Michael Jackson knew his business. He owned the Beatles catalogue. Yeah? He owned the Beatles catalogue. He did a song called All I Want to Say Is That They Don't Really Care About Us.
Yeah.
Yeah? I don't know what outgoings he had. He had a big amusement park as a house. He had monkeys. He had all sorts of things, yeah? But at some point, he needed to go back out on the road, and they put him on a long tour. And before he could even do it, he died. Because he was having to take pills and tablets, X, Y, Z, to get through. You never know what someone is going through personally. You never know, yeah?
Just interrupted, because you mentioned that Angie Stone was 63, right? So as someone who's toured yourself around Britain at the age of around 25 or 35, can you tell us what is it like to tour a young person compared to someone who's 63 years old?
Right, okay, I'm not that young. You're dying to know my age, isn't it? But listen,
No.
I'm about 10 years or so years younger than Angie Stone. And I haven't been a massive artist, so I haven't toured up and down Britain all over the world lots, but I have done it enough to see what it's about. And my husband has done it a lot, and it wasn't good for him. And actually, it seemed like at that time, nobody really cared because, you know, as me and my husband sit here, he's sitting here beside me now. As he sits here, we get offers all the time. Can you come and tour here? Can you go there? We could be out on the road touring the world, and trust me, I would have a lot more money than I do now. because what they do to a lot of artists is they might steal your royalties, but they go, you can go out there and play live. You know, the poor Rolling Stones, they're as wrinkly as hell. They're always good for another push. Do you understand what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, you can get money from doing that. So if you're not getting royalties and you've got a profile, doing live is obviously a way to earn income, and it benefits you and everybody else that's in the mix as well. You know, so I would say the difference between me and Angie Stone is I'll probably know in 10 years' time or 15 years' time, you know, how well do you look after yourself? How healthy are you? You know, what's around you? How is your life? You know, what illnesses are you dealing with? But even if you're young, it's tiring. Yeah? It's tiring. Like she died in between shows. So she was doing a show in one city and she was going to another city. Yeah? And whatever happened in between happened. But, you know, and she seemed like a very committed person, like a woman that her word was her bond. You know, unless if she said she's going to do something, she is going to do it. But I'm going to tell you, yes, it's very tiring. It's tiring travelling from place to place. It's tiring when you do a show and it's like the crescendo, what we spoke about the last time, the build-up. You know, you're on the stage, you've got to give all this energy to people. Thousands of people, yeah? And then, you know, the lights go down. Bye everyone, ta-da, and then you come off stage and that's it.
Well, you bed sit all by yourself.
Well, you go to your hotel room or you go to the bar, but you and then you've got to do it all again the next day, depending on what your schedule is. You know, so scheduling is a big thing as well, because you go and look at your favourite artists now and see what their tour schedule is. You know, it's like, what cities are they in? Where are they going? You know, but those dates, when you arrive there, you buy your ticket, you're hyped up. You don't want to see somebody going, do you know what? I just bucked my foot in the hotel. You don't want to hear that. You're not interested. You want to see, play my greatest hits. I want to hear X. I want to hear Y. And you're just in the, and that's nothing wrong with that. It's not a fan's fault, because fans are the lifeblood of an artist. Yeah? But people don't actually appreciate what goes on around the business. And as someone who's been in the business for 30 years, I'm still learning every day. So when Angie Stone said, you know, I only just realised at 63, having been in the business since I was like 16, I have only just realised, because I'm sure she'll put a lot of what happened to her down to experience. Oh, the Sugar Hill Gang. Oh, Sylvia Rowe. Oh, the first thing. Oh, I went out this. I'm sure she'll put a lot of it down to experience, but there comes a point when you're thinking, okay, now I've got myself together. And she's going, hang on, I thought I'd gotten a team around me of trustworthy people who were looking into things, and I get to realise, no. But she didn't say, you know, it's the people that she had entrusted that were obviously mismanaging or appropriating, because she trusted them. Just like my husband trusts me. He does, he trusts me, yeah?
Let me just jump in quickly, because when she was speaking about her secret history, etc., she mentioned something called mechanical several times. She said
mechanical royalties.
Mechanical. All right. So can you tell us what that is? But also, it seems like because she wasn't getting her royalties, this is what kind of encouraged or forced, you could say, to go on tour at the age of 63, and she's driving around America because that's the way she can get her money that she should have got from the royalties in the first place, is what you seem to say.
Well, Rodney, jump in if I'm wrong, yeah? But mechanical royalties are like the royalties that you get from the physical product. It's not the royalties that you get from, or it's not the royalties that you get from performance. Performance royalties are the royalties you get for performance. It's what it says on the tin, yeah? You're performing, it's a royalty that you get. Mechanicals are, you've sold a record, you've sold a CD, you've sold a tape cassette, you have sold a stream. And that's why streaming is so important, because what they've done with streaming is they've reduced an artist's ability to earn, because instead of getting, say, one, when you sold a vinyl record, depending on what your record contract was, if you sold a vinyl record or a CD or a tape cassette, I'm not saying the music industry was good then, because it wasn't. It was always bad, but it's worse because you would get maybe some of whatever, a percentage of what you sold. So the record company might get 80% of the money for the CD and you might get 20%. Or the record, depending on that's a lot, that's very common. The record company is making lots of money, and even then they still want to steal the rest of your money. But with streaming, even though billions and billions of people can stream your music, for each stream you'll get something like 0.0001 or 0.0001% pence for every stream. So if you get 0.0001%, you have to have it streamed 1,000 times before you make a penny.
Jeez.
Right? So this is where the streaming platforms and the tech platforms have made a killing. Like Daniel Ek, the owner of Spotify, he cashed in some shares of Spotify and he made more than all of the songwriters on that platform put together.
Wow. And he just has the platform to supply the music, but the artists themselves who create the music, they get less than he does.
Oh, they get far, because he gets paid every day as well, remember? And so do all the employees at the company. And what they'll say with streaming is it's like they can't work it out the same way, because it's not like you stream, you get £1. Because it's like, well, sometimes you'll stream something and then the streaming platform will put something underneath your stream. Like they'll put Bobby No Mate.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? Or you'll a lot of times there's playlists that you're plugging into yourself that have been curated by someone else. Or it may be that you're playing a lot of reggae and they'll put loads of reggae things under you. You don't know who these people are, or you don't know why that's coming after you, because it's like the algorithm is saying, oh, you like this, so you'll like this. Personally, when I use streaming platforms, I don't really use Spotify. Because I don't like them, but and I've told the guy that, not to his face because I don't know him, but I've personally told him that on Twitter. He blocked me. I don't care, because these people are thieves. They when I say they're thieves, it's like, well, if you don't, if you can't sort yourselves out, people, then you'll get your money took. That's how they see it. They see you as fair game, So, and if you talk about it like I do, everyone shuns you. Everyone goes, oh, she's like a bit of a nightmare. I'm like, I'm not a nightmare. I'm God blessed. I'm not a nightmare. I'm saying to this dude, he's on Twitter going, artists, you need to, if you want to get more streams, you need to put more music up. That's what he's saying. Who does it benefit?
Yeah,
if you have to,
still have some, like,
and then if you want someone to play your things 1,000 times, you got to be on social media. You got to be on TikTok. You got to be on Instagram. You got to be out there. You got to be out there. And loads of people are doing that. And if they sold 100,000 streams, and I'm being so generous, what are they gonna make? So when he said that on Twitter, I just got right back to him and said, "Excuse me, dog, you're taking the mick." Yeah, he did, so he blocked me or whatever he did. I don't care. Yeah, I know they and another thing I'm going to say to you is about, we've got 4 people listening in. We've got more than 4 people listening in. But just like Angie Stone's videos have only got 2,500 views, she's got more than 2,500 views. But they're like, oh, but Cardi B's got 20 million views.
Yeah.
So the point where I'm at, I don't want to sound bitter and I don't want to sound conspiracy theorists, and I can't prove everything I'm saying. I can't prove it because I don't have the data, I don't have the back end to the software that runs it. But I can tell you the nasty feeling I get. And it's not just about Angie Stone. It is about Angie Stone because she's a brilliant artist. You know, she probably made business mistakes, but she did so much for so many people. It doesn't matter how nice you are. You understand? So, and I know, you know, and I can say that about so many people. You know, I know somebody that was taking UMG, same people, to court about the royalties of some reggae artists because so many reggae artists have died penniless. So many artists have died that the record companies still make money off today. Billions and millions. And they build their companies off of it. And then they hire people in those different positions, marketing, whatever. And they chuck them 30 grand or 40 grand or whatever they chuck them. And they're happy with that because they've got a stable job. But they're eating off of people's legacies. And then you watch the news and they'll go, all these kids are stabbing themselves. I know I'm kind of digressing, but I do see it as a bigger picture because the very same people that are stealing your inheritance will sit there and go, tut, tut, tut. Look at them all acting like this. Look at them all doing that. Look at them all stabbing themselves. Look at them all acting like monkeys. The same people, you know, that are stealing. And their children are at Ivy League schools eating. Their children are getting jobs in the industry or in other industries. The same people are leeching off your lifeblood of the things that you created. Like I sit here today and I'm a songwriter, I'm a singer, I'll sing you a song, I'll write something. And like I said, I'm not I had some problems with the collection companies several years back because like I said, I've been in this business for 30 years. I got given the poster saying this is what you need to do. You need to sign up to the collection societies. You need to not have your same publishing and your label in the same place because it's, you know, so I thought I kind of had some good advice and I followed that advice. And what I did see with anybody that was kind of a little bit savvy, you didn't get anywhere. You know, they want unsavvy people. And unfortunately, there's a lot of us to pick from because of the exploitation that we've had over hundreds of years. So it's very easy. And even if you haven't got the greatest talent, I'm not saying I'm the most talented person, you can still make something of something. You know, so a lot of...
Yeah, I just remembered, you had mentioned Michael Jackson previously. And I know that Michael Jackson had bought... he bought the catalogue of a 1960s, 70s black artist, I forget his name, and given it back to him.
Right.
I'm that someplace. And it's also linking to the fact that apparently if you die as a musician, then the value of your songs goes up. You sell more records when you're dead. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm sure Angie Stone has been, and Gwen McRae, and Roy Ayers, and the Tony guy. I'm sure as soon as you hear about it, the first thing you do is go and listen to their music.
True.
That's the first thing that you do. You might go to Spotify. Spotify's probably now going to go, right, this is all ours now. Or we're going to share it a little bit with the rights holders because it's not just the labels, it's whoever owns the rights to that music. If Michael Jackson brought whoever it was music and gave it back to them, then they own the rights. If Michael Jackson owned the Beatles catalogue, he owned the rights. People didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that Michael Jackson had the business acumen and the savvy to own a Beatles catalogue. They didn't like it one bit, you know. And I don't know, I was never there in Michael Jackson's house, so I don't know what Michael Jackson did or did not do. And I'm not here to, like, cast any aspersions on anyone's character or anything else. But you have to kind of take a step back sometimes and not just get sucked in with the jetsam and the flotsam of public opinion and news and take a step back and say, what is actually happening here? Because Angie Stone is one person. Prince is one person. Michael Jackson is one person. Roots Maneuver is one person. Alex Smith is one person. Alex Watson is one person. You know, I could go on. But altogether, what does it make? It makes... So when I see Angie Stone having done a video series of what happened to her, and the next minute, it could have been just that the brakes went. I don't know. I wasn't there, yeah? But knowing what I know of this industry, it's like, okay, because she was saying, I'm going to get my money back.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my money back. So she could get her money back, but what precedent would it set for everybody else that wants their money back? What does it mean for everybody else that wants their money back and for their catalogues that you've stolen? Whether they're...
It's almost like reparations, isn't it?
It is reparations. These people, we're still fighting for reparations. Every year we have to go on a march down London and people go, oh, it's happened so long ago. Why don't you get a job? You've got a job and someone's taking your things. Oh, but why didn't you get a lawyer? I got my lawyer and my lawyer was in the cahoots with the record company. Or why didn't you read it yourself? I can't read. What about that? You know, so there's always an excuse, isn't there, for why the onus is on the person that has been screwed over and not on the screwy.
Yeah. But let me ask you a question because Angie Stone is dead now. We know that she was in negotiations about her royalties. She's dead. What happens to the case she was bringing, the arguments she was making? What happens to the money she might have got for herself when it comes to her? The fact that she's dead now, how does that work? Because as a musician, you might know this happened before other people, that they've died. But how does their family get the money that's owed to their family member? Do you know about that?
Right, well, it depends. It all depends on who owns the rights to her music. Yeah? Who are the rights holders? So whoever gets paid for who own the rights, and obviously in terms of the music industry, when you write songs or produce songs, you have to register those songs in order, for the most part, I'm sure a lot of people didn't, but you have to register your songs in order to get paid. And in each country, there's different collection societies. Some of them are on job more than others are on job. And those ones that are on job ain't great either. Yeah, and then there's a big body and there's databases where all this money goes and it gets sent out. Yeah, so will her children get the money? I would have thought Angie Stone would have made provision for her children, even though her children are doing GoFundMes and Cash Apps as we speak.
What? Hold on, wait, just confirm that. What are they doing a GoFundMe for?
I have no idea. I saw a video where her daughter said a Cash App. I think there was a GoFundMe. I don't know. I don't think it's for her funeral, but maybe she was on the road just to earn money to feed her family, because she did make allusions to the fact that, you know, she was a single mother. She hadn't had much help from the fathers of her children, and she's out there just trying to hustle. Her children were big people, but as you know, in an economy or in a world where you're at the bottom, as big as you might be and you've got expenses, you know, you might have to be helping your children out still. So it's not automatic that Angie Stone's royalties goes to her children.
Wow.
If she's only just found out that she's not actually the legal rights holder. So someone else will have to take up that fight for her if that's not the case. And the fact that her children are doing Cash Apps and stuff makes me think that they are not the legal rights holders.
Good grief. Well, that's a big story right there, because I've not heard about that.
Well, what haven't you heard about that? They're doing Cash Apps.
No, I didn't know about that at all, and I thought it was up to date with what's going on.
Well, in the last, you were listening to the last live I did. I remember saying, you know, why is it that when people pass away or they're ill in hospital, so many of us, and it just so happens that the ones I see, maybe I'm missing something, are black or whatever. They're doing GoFundMes for the funeral. They're doing GoFundMes for the hospital treatment. And it could be that there's just dirty dog around them that's trying to capitalise off of it. But even how much are you going to make, considering Angie Stone could have retired 20 years ago? Like, a lot of people miss the bigger picture. They miss the bigger picture in, like, do you understand what's happening here? Do you understand that slavery, we thought it had ended? But yet, because I can say now, we're in 2025. Let's go back 100 years. To 1925. The music industry was a very different place then, and it was in its infancy. But the world was a very different place. Yeah? it was a place, especially in America and stuff like that, it was a place that was like an apartheid state. If you're black, you couldn't drink from the same fountain as a white person. You couldn't go to the same school as a white person. You couldn't do anything the same as a white person. So you, as a little person who's got a talent, ding 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 at a crossroads. I'm just joking. You're literally, you might as well have your hands tied behind your back and say, slap me in the face and kick me in the nuts and can I have £5 for the pleasure? You might as well, because that's the situation you're in. Let's move on. Civil rights, Nina Simone tried to Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all dead by the way, tried. Black Panthers, if they weren't dead, they was put in jail. Yeah, so we're not on a level playing field with this thing. So I'm really tired of people going, like P Diddy and Jay-Z like shaking their hands and looking at their watches going, yeah, I'm a bad boss. You're not bad of nothing. You're not bad, okay? You maybe know some people and you've made some deals with them and they've allowed you to make it look like it's possible. But the proof of the pudding is in the eating, in the everyday, shenanigans and dealings of the music business. That's what I'm concerned about. And I can tell you so many people who have got talent, who have done things in this industry, who've worked with great names, who are great names themselves. And I'm like, but why? Why is he all like broke like that? And this man here has got artwork worth billions of dollars.
Yeah, I suppose one point is that Angie Stone herself said she should have retired 20 years ago. She's not saying she should have, she's saying she could have. She could have, that's what...
With regards to the wealth that she's made for other people.
Yeah, and the point is that she was on the road at the age of 63, traveling, touring to kind of, make money because she could get money direct to her pocket from doing touring, as opposed to mechanicals, which she said she was not getting. Yeah. And that's part of the background that we're going to discuss now, and I think we'll take a few interventions from the people who are in the audience.
Yeah, does anybody else want to step in? Because I feel like I'm getting upset here. Like, I didn't want to. I hope I'm making some sense to some people, and if anyone's got questions for me, please do ask them, or if you've got something to say because you understand this game more than I do, because we're all just like a part of a puzzle. Yeah, no one hand can clap.
One hand can't clap. That's a good one. Yeah, so I sent invitations, and I think they just have to click on the invitation to speak.
Who are we talking about? Because like I said, I can't see for some reason.
Well, there's about 5 people I can see that are in the room. And I suppose, going back to your point about what people can see and they can't see when it comes to Twitter, we know for a fact that Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, of course, will shadow ban your content. So sometimes you might have a whole bunch of people following you, but you don't get to know about it because they're kept from your notice.
So how do you know that?
Well, I know that from Brother Andrew, who's always talking about how he has a Zoom.
Yeah.
And he'll have like people who want to get into the Zoom, and he'll let them in, but they can't get in. He has a big problem with people accessing the Zoom, which he pays for, by the way. Yeah. And he can have up to 800 people on his Zoom, and there's another 50 people outside, but they cannot get in, even though he's allowed them to come in. So he complains about it all the time. In fact, if he's here, we could ask him that question.
Yeah. I mean, I know Brother Andrew's not in the music business, but he probably does know some people that's in the music business. But
Sure.
I can see this from a long time. I used to see Oprah content, and I'm thinking, why has this only got 200 views? But you'll see somebody with a thong in the bottom, and it's got millions in 2 days, and you're going, I must know the wrong people. And the biggest thing I'll say is Angie Stone's content herself. She passed away only over a week ago. If you go onto YouTube, you will find people talking about, how did Angie Stone die? What happened? Why? And they've got hundreds of thousands of views. You go to her page, there's about 2,000 people.
Yeah, and that's contradictory, right? It's like,
don't make sense, does it? And the guy that runs YouTube is called Leo Cohen.
Yeah.
And I've tried to get these people in a room, but they just don't want to talk to me somehow. I must be really scary.
Well, YouTube is known for luring black content. If it's positive black content, it often gets kind of reduced. If it's like booty shaking, that kind of stuff, he gets promoted. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, it's not a fact though, is it? It's not a fact, is it, Tony? It's just like we need facts. We need the data to be shown. We need people to show us what's been going on, because we can say it because we know in our hearts that it's not right, but we can't prove it.
Well, YouTube can say no, but as you said, the stats speak for themselves. How is it that the person who is the artist who is speaking about our own experiences is getting less views, less content, according to YouTube, than other people who are not her, who don't know what they're talking about?
And it's not even just like it's like she's getting like 2,000 views, 2,500 views, 3,000 views per video. The biggest one she had was the last one she did, 56,000 views. Everything else is like under 4,000 views. I've seen videos of 450,000 views. And she complained about it on one of her videos. She's like, someone's ripping my videos and getting more views than me.
Yes, that's exactly the point. Absolutely. So how is that possible unless there's some sort of manipulation?
Exactly. Leo Cohen, if you're about, maybe you can come and explain to us why Dotty Dog does not want to listen to Angie Stone. Yeah, because they do listen. They do listen because Roots Maneuver, the artist I manage, is a big concern. And I've invited quite a few people. I didn't invite Leo Cohen himself, but I'm not going to be big-headed, but I wouldn't be surprised if he found out, because I have not been shy. I've always been like this. I'm an outspoken person, but I've had a bee in my bonnet about this industry for a long time because I'm in it. And I see the unfairness. And it could be like, oh, you're old now. You're just trying to... Because what they'll do is they'll take...
Old and bitter, innit?
I'm old and bitter. I'm old and bitter. But I'm not old and bitter. I'm actually so happy. Do you understand? And that's the difference. But to other people, they'll go, she's old and bitter. But I've been doing it for a long time. And the other sad thing is that there's people that you know that will just keep their mouth clamped because we don't know why. You know, they will let you, because like you're putting your head above the parapet and you'll get your head slammed down with the sledgehammer and everyone will go, oh, that was a shame. Oh, that's what this business is like. Anyway, does anyone else want to say something? I'm tired of hearing my own voice.
Yeah, let's give it another couple of minutes to ask a question, because they can all, I think they just have to raise their hand or
can they type them in?
Yeah, because the chat box is there. So if you've got a question, you can stick in the chat and we'll do our best to answer it. Let's give people a couple more minutes.
You know, and a lot of things with these, people will listen to it after the fact because people are like, you know, eating their dinner, or, you know, they don't have Twitter. Yeah. But they will listen to it. I see thousands of people listening to how to make crypto. I'm like, listen, get a life. Yeah.
The more ratchet your content is, the more views you apparently get. Yeah.
So, can I ask you a question? What do you think about what I've said so far?
Makes sense. And it kind of coming from your literal experience of doing what we're talking about. It's quite authentic. Especially the thing you said about touring. And she wasn't getting the Googles, therefore. I can see now why she's on driving around. This one up to us, like, I'm thinking, how come she's driving? She's a big star. She's in a private jet, whatever, or flying at least, but she's there driving around.
You've got to keep the costs down. You know, everything in this business is about, you know, everything costs. Nothing comes for free. So if you're on tour, you're paying for everybody that's there. You're paying for whether the Sprinter van, the coach, the train fares, the bus fare, the plane. It all comes out of your pocket. It's not coming out of the record company's cut. Say if her deal was 80-20, Universal's 80%. None of it's coming out of that. It's all coming out of her little 20%. Do you understand what I mean? So the shows are the easiest ways, because you might get 50% of your money up front, and then you go and do the show, you get the other 50%. Even then, in the old, people will lick you upside the head. In the old days when you used to get cash, people will lick you upside the head and take the money out of your hand and run off with it. I've heard that. Yeah, they'll take your money at a show. I've seen that. I've heard that so many times. Okay, my daughter said let him speak a bit more and don't do impressions. Okay, she's giving me some advice. She's texting me. Thank you, Ebony.
That's right, we've got about 5 minutes left, and that's the point again. I didn't know that. The fact you're going to be on stage performing, you're going to get cash in hand, and then someone just rips you off, literally in your face, direct. And
That's very, very common. If you've read any music industry books, you know, you'll see it's like there's a lot of criminals. You know, if they see where they can make easy cash, they will do that. So now it's not so much about you getting cash or put it in a bank transfer. So I'm sure that happens less, but there's still ways that they do it. But I know in the old days, you would get given your money in your hand, and people might just come and take your money.
Jeez.
So that's why the whole thing about it being a dangerous business as well. It's like you're the prey and everyone are predators. Sorry if I've been a bit animated, people. I'm so sorry if I've been kind of like...
No, that's you. You're supposed to be who you are. But it's like almost 6 o'clock now, so unless we get any questions next minute, so we're going to wind it up, wrap it up, and say thank you for attending, listening, and make sure to check out the other events we have coming up from Black History.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that no one else came to talk. I don't know where Slide is, who was my co-host last week. But I hope that you've recorded it so I can share it to other people and that they can listen in. Yeah, last week we had a bit, it wasn't just me talking, so I do feel like the pressure's been on me a bit, but I hope I've spoken a bit about where Angie Stone and anybody, not like I said, she is an artist that has made millions and millions, but she's not alone. So there's millions and millions and millions and millions that have been made by people that are not seeing the results of their hard work and their creation.
Well, that was illuminating. So thank you very much, Alex, and thank you to our listeners. But for now, we're going to say goodbye and have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.